Welcome to Whiteboard Wednesday, and in today's episode, I'm sharing with you guys the best 15 dryland exercises specifically for swimmers that are low impact. Now, if you're not familiar with low impact, in this video, we're going to talk about it, and by the end of the video, I'm going to share with you 15 different exercises. Some you can do with equipment and some without any equipment at all that'll benefit you in your swimming. If you're new to the channel, welcome to my Swim Pro, where we share the latest and greatest to help you improve your performance and health in and out of the water. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe, like this video. Now let's get right into it. You might be thinking to yourself, why would I do dryland training in the first place? I love swimming because it's low impact. Now there might be a number of reasons why you might not be able to swim. Here are 3 benefits of dryland training, whether it's low impact or not, that can definitely help you both in and out of the water. The first is muscle activation. So when you're in the water, it's fantastic to have this low impact, zero gravity medium. The problem is you're not going to get as good of a muscle activation in the water as you can out of the water, because out of the water, you can actually focus the muscle groups that you're working on a lot easier than you can in the water. So definitely you want to increase your muscle activation, and that'll help you increase your performance. You can actually get stronger out of the water much easier than you can in the water. And the second reason is probably the most obvious when it comes to the shoulders and potentially the knees, and why when we're talking about low impact, is that you can reduce your chances of injury. Injury prevention is super important. In swimming, you do a lot of repetitive movements. So whether it's something with your shoulders and strengthening these supporting regions, whether it's the rotator cuff, your back, shoulder muscles, or it's something on the lower extremities, whether you have knee problems, hip, lower back, a lot of things you can do out of the water will benefit you when you get in the water and prevent you from injuring yourself, which we don't want. We do swimming because we want to have fun, we want to stay fit. And finally, no pool, no excuses. For whatever reason, you might not be able to swim, whether you're stuck at home or you're traveling. No pool, no excuses. If you guys like the swag, you can buy this t-shirt or tank top linked in the description below. Make sure you get your My Swim Pro No Pool, No Excuses swag. But you never know when you're not going to have a pool, and it doesn't mean that you can't work out. So no pool, no excuses. Now, what kind of low impact are we talking about, and why is low impact important? Because again, we talked about it in swimming. It's great. It's this medium of water that's 800 times more resistive than air. At the same time, it's zero gravity. So we know the health benefits of swimming. Check out the Whiteboard Wednesday, the awesome health benefits of swimming, linked in the description below. And if you haven't already seen that video, check it out. I highly recommend it. But we talk about all those benefits that swimming offers. Now, one of the biggest is the fact that it's low impact. And because it's low impact, that allows you to swim pretty much every single day. And the reason why low impact dryland specifically is important is because it prevents your knees, hips, lower back, shoulders, any other body, basically your joints, are prevented from getting that high impact abuse that your body is so used to in swimming. Your body in swimming, you don't really experience that kind of impact on your joints. And so these are the trouble areas, the knees, hips, lower back, and shoulders specifically. And when you do these different movements we're going to talk about, it allows you to continue to work out to get the benefits of muscle activation and injury prevention, even if you don't have a swimming pool. And it allows you to do that in a way that's not going to hurt your body. And that consistency in training will benefit you a lot. In other words, if you do heavy kind of, running or weightlifting, you might not be able to do that every single day because it's high impact on your body. That's why we love swimming. When you do these kinds of low impact dryland training specific movements that are going to benefit you in swimming, you can do them almost every single day, or at least at a frequency higher than, say, running or weightlifting, which is more high impact on your body. Now, let's talk about the different dryland training programs specifically. We're going to come back to using equipment. First, we're going to talk about no equipment. So I have 10 different exercises listed out. And if you haven't seen any of the Whiteboard Wednesdays that I've done that explain different techniques of dryland training, whether it's with other types of equipment like the Swiss ball, resistance bands, TRX suspension cables. There's a lot of different equipment out there, and we have a dedicated video for all of them. But let's talk about no equipment, and let's talk about low impact. So the first one is my favorite. It's called dead bug. Now you can actually do a couple of these with a Swiss ball or not, but a dead bug is basically where you lay on your back and you're gonna have your arms straight and your knees bent at 90 degrees, and you're gonna alternate your right leg and your left arm, and you're gonna raise those down, maintaining the same position with the hand and leg that's not moving. And then you're gonna switch from right to left, left to right. And again, you can do that with a Swiss ball held between your knees and your hands. This is a great workout for stability, core. And really it's low impact because you're just laying on your back. So really there's no impact at all, but it's fantastic because it's gonna build your core strength, stability, and all those things are definitely beneficial in swimming and injury prevention. The second low impact dryland training exercise is backstroke. No, not the backstroke you do in the water. This is backstroke where you're actually gonna sit down in a chair or on the side of a couch. Again, you can do this on a Swiss ball, and you're actually going to do the movements of backstroke, sort of, where you're gonna have your hands either on the Swiss ball or on the couch or on the chair, and you're gonna raise your one arm straight up, just like you would do backstroke, a stroke, and you're gonna lift your opposite leg, and you're gonna point your toe and stretch out that leg. Lift your foot off the ground, and you're gonna get your legs straight. So at this point, one arm is straight, and one leg is straight, and the other two opposites are holding you in place. And you're gonna alternate, similar to how you do dead bug, where you alternate. This is great core stability. You're really gonna feel this in your hip flexors, and of course, it's low impact because you're just sitting down. So although you're sitting down, you're definitely gonna get a great workout. Number 3, the raised leg crunch. Now again, you can do this with a Swiss ball or without a Swiss ball. You're gonna be laying on your back and you're gonna crunch up. This is great for the front of your core, upper abs, diaphragm, and you're gonna have to stabilize your legs either in the air or on a Swiss ball. And by doing that, you're actually activating your entire core, your entire body. And of course, it's low impact because you're laying on your back. Now the 4th is a great one for shoulders, specifically shoulder health. We're talking T, Y, I, and W. You can do this either standing, sitting down, or laying on your stomach. And this is where you basically draw out the letters with your arms. So for T, you're gonna have your arms, thumbs up, give me a thumbs up, and you're gonna raise your arms up, make a T, and then a Y, and then an I, and you're gonna make that motion with your hands. Again, you can do that on a Swiss ball, you can do that on the ground, standing or sitting down. Great for shoulder stability. Great for the upper body, of course. And the 5th is the plank. I love the plank. Again, you can do this on a Swiss ball. This is really the best movement to mimic streamline, and streamline is the most important word in swimming. It is the fundamental body position. So if you can maintain a solid plank and you can hold that, now this is a little bit higher impact on the upper body. So depending on how much weight you can hold on your shoulders, you may or may not be able to do it to the full extent. Again, you can do this with a Swiss ball if you want to be more difficult and complicated. If you want to be the next level of complicated, you're actually going to be on your feet or your feet are elevated. And of course, you can do this on your knees. So make sure you're staying safe, be healthy, don't do anything that puts you at a greater risk. But a plank is a great way to really stabilize the core and really engage the entire body. Next is number 6, the Superman extensions. This is a fantastic movement that works on your back of your abs. So not the back of your abs, the back of your core, so the back half of your diaphragm. And this is a series of muscle groups that are often neglected by swimmers and all athletes actually. And this will help prevent injury on the front half being too strong compared to the back half, meaning your hamstrings, your glutes, and your lower back. So you lay on your stomach and you're gonna actually do kind of like a back extension. You're gonna raise your arms and feet off the ground at the same time. Try and be tall, don't overreach and overflex, but you're gonna squeeze your glutes and you're really gonna, as if you're doing a dolphin kick underwater. This is the half of the dolphin kick that most swimmers are not very strong at. And again, it's low impact because you're laying on your stomach. It's great. Number 7 is the alternating straight leg jackknife. You're gonna be on your back, and when you're on your back, you're going to raise your right arm and your left leg, and you're gonna try and touch them together. Meanwhile, the only part of your body that's actually on the ground at this point is from your butt all the way to your top of your shoulders. Everything else is pretty much off the ground in action during this activity. This really gets the cross-sectional core engaged. So, from your left leg all the way to your right arm, and then you're gonna switch and you're gonna alternate. Next, we're gonna go leg raises. So you're still on your back, you're laying on your back. If you need to put your hands underneath your butt, go ahead and do leg raises. Point your toes is best. You can do a few complicated versions. You can go flutter kick, you can go dolphin kick, a lot of different things you can do. If you want to go medicine ball, that's a lot harder. This is really going to work your lower abs, lower core, diaphragm area. And this is going to be great for core stability. And of course, dolphin kick off the wall. Number 9 is the Russian twist. Adding a little bit more rotation. This is, again, low impact because you're sitting on the ground. If you want to add a medicine ball, you're going to rotate from side to side. Really engage your entire core and make sure your upper body is actually rotating. I've seen a lot of people do the Russian twist and they're just kind of moving their hands side to side. Nah, you're better than that. That's not how it works. You're going to have to rotate your upper body, get your shoulders rotating to the right, all the way to the left. And by getting more upper body rotation, you're really gonna get a lot more benefit out of this specific exercise. Again, great, low impact, you're sitting on the ground, awesome. And the 10th one in this series is the hip bridge. Now the hip bridge is a great movement. You're gonna be on your back, your heels are gonna dig into the ground, and you're gonna raise your hips to where you make a straight line from your knees all the way through your shoulders. And this is a great one, again, similar to the Superman extension, where you're gonna hit the back half of your diaphragm that is often neglected. We're talking the hamstrings, the glutes, and the lower back. Fantastic for swimming, fantastic for general health. We're talking about performance and health, so if you wanna swim faster, great exercise. If you wanna prevent yourself from injury and have a better overall core strength, definitely need to incorporate something like this in every single dryland session. Whether or not it's the hip bridge specifically, or you're doing it on a Swiss ball or a medicine ball, adding some complexity, doesn't really matter. You need to engage that muscle group every single time you're doing a dryland workout, which should be a few times per week if you want to be in tip-top shape. So these were 10 awesome no equipment exercises that are all low impact. Let's see a few different versions of those. Actually, these are all new exercises, but we're going to use a Swiss ball for all of these. So Swiss ball, if you haven't checked out the Whiteboard Wednesday awesome exercise with a Swiss ball, check it out, linked in the description below. We're going to talk about 5 different low impact with equipment, specifically the Swiss ball. The first one is the hand to feet pass. So you're actually going to have the Swiss ball, big Swiss ball, between your feet, and then you're going to lift your legs up like a leg raise, and you're going to pass the ball to your hands, then you're going to lower it and pass them back. So this is a great way to engage the entire body, core specifically, but you're really going to hit the upper body as well, getting nice and tingly and engaged. Number 2 is the bent knee bridge. This is actually one of my favorites with the Swiss ball. It's not very complicated in the sense that you're going to just put your heels on the ground. You're going to have the ball underneath your back. Your butt is almost on the ground, and you're actually going to lift up your hips into a bridge, and you're going to squeeze your glutes at the top and make your body flat from your knees all the way to your shoulder blades. It should be about 90 degrees, and your body is parallel to the ground. And then you're going to lower yourself and you're going to repeat. Fantastic exercise for, again, that back half of the diaphragm, the back half of the core, hamstrings, glutes, and lower back. Number 3 is the alternating Superman. So similar to the Superman that we did on the ground where we had both arms and legs lift together, the alternating Superman is a little bit more for core stability specifically rather than strength. You're going to be laying over the ball, and you're going to raise your right arm and your left leg, opposite, and you want to get your body as flat as possible. Keep your core tight. You don't want to have your lower back sort of arch, and you want it as if your body is like a tabletop, all the way from your fingertips on one arm all the way through to your heel on the opposite leg. It's really important that you keep your body as flat as possible. And then number 4 is the supine lateral roll. This one sounds fancy. You're basically on your back, the ball is underneath your back, and you're going to be, your chest is up to the ceiling, and you want to be in a bridge, so you're squeezing your glutes and your hamstrings, and your lower back is nice and strong. Your body is flat. You're going to have your arms out, and you're going to actually roll from your right shoulder blade to your left shoulder blade. This is a great rotational and stability movement. It's fantastic. I love it. And then the 5th one is a little bit more basic, but it's still important, is the pelvic tilt. So you're going to sit tall on the ball, and you're actually going to tilt your pelvis forward and backward. And this is great for your lower back because it really strengthens that stability, which is so important. We talked about stability a lot, but that's really the key when we're talking about low impact and injury prevention. We're focusing on a few different areas. We're focusing on the shoulders. And again, we talked about that with the T, Y, I, and W exercise. That's fantastic. You can do that with a Swiss ball, without. But also we're talking about the lower back, and we're talking about the knees. And it's really important when we do low impact exercises, we're not jumping up and down. And none of the exercises we talked about here today are where you're jumping up and down. We have a lot more of those in the MySwimPro app, which you haven't already downloaded, you should download it. A lot of different training programs. 2 specifically that I want to shout out to you guys that are 4 low impact exercises. The first one is no equipment. It's called Low Impact, and you'd guess the focus. It is on low impact. And we're talking a 6-week training program, 3 workouts per week. It's a fantastic way. It's a little bit more on the beginner end. So if you're just getting started with all of this stuff and it looks like I'm speaking a different language, that's probably a good training program to start with. Some of these will be in that training program, a few more basic, great video explanations. I recommend you start there. Now, if you've already had a good grip on some of these, and maybe you're looking for a strength component for the core separate from a weight program, or you already have another strength and conditioning program, and you're looking for something in the core that's also going to be relatively low impact, I recommend the training program Swimmer's Core. It's a 4-week program, 4 workouts per week. This is a little bit more advanced, but it's still really solid, and you're going to use a little bit of different equipment. So you're going to use the Swiss ball that we talked about here today. A few of these exercises are in that training program pretty regularly, and a few others with a medicine ball. So if you have a medicine ball, great. Swiss ball, great. Definitely recommend the Swimmer's Core, and of course the low impact. Now again, I mentioned a few different times, we have a lot of video content. If you haven't checked it out, for different training programs and also different equipment. So if you have resistance bands, or if you have a TRX suspension cables, or medicine ball, Swiss ball. We have a video for all of that, but I really recommend following a training program. And here, if you guys are stuck with me this far into the video, thank you so much. We really appreciate you being a part of the channel. Make sure you're subscribed and of course like and share this video. But the reason why I recommend a training program specifically is because you're gonna get progression. Now, what does progression mean? You get progression in 3 different dimensions. Now, this actually applies for not only dryland training, but also swimming training and really learning any new skill, especially in a physical sense. So when you're trying to get better at something, and that's why you're watching this video, you're trying to really improve upon something, or you're just bored and trying to surf the internet, but let's stick with the former. So you're really trying to improve yourself, and you're trying to improve the progression in 3 dimensions. Number 1, the duration. So as time goes on, you're actually going to be able to work out longer. You're gonna build endurance, you're gonna build muscular strength, and over time, you can actually do the activity for a longer period of time. So maybe you can only do this for 6 repetitions, and then the next time you do it in a week, you can do it for 8 repetitions, and then 12. So you can actually do it for a longer period of time. The next one, version of progression is intensity. So you can actually go harder. So maybe that means you're using resistance bands for a specific exercise like swim pulls, and you can actually do more weight, more resistance in a week, and then in 2 weeks you can do even more weight, and then 3 months later you can do even more. So definitely a progression of intensity is really important. And then thirdly, it's complexity. So some of the exercises here have a more complicated version of them. An easy example is a plank. You can do a plank on your knees, then you can do a plank on your feet, then you can do a plank on a Swiss ball. Then you can do a plank on a Swiss ball with one leg lifted. And as time goes on and you build the right progression, you can actually add complexity, intensity, and duration. And the reason why it's so important that you follow a specific structured training program that's personalized to you is to get the benefit of progression. So rather than just doing these exercises over and over and over again, there's definitely gonna be some benefit, but you can injure yourself and you can hit a plateau relatively quickly if you don't have the right progression. That's why I recommend the MySwimPro app. And all of our training programs, whether they're dryland or swimming specific, they're gonna have the same training progression and they're gonna be customized for you. So based on your skill level, what your goals are, and of course, if you have equipment or if you don't have equipment. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Whiteboard Wednesday talking about low impact dryland. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, give yourself a round of applause. Make sure you recommend this video to all of your friends who are looking for low impact specifically, whether they're at home and they can't swim, or they can't swim and maybe they're traveling, whatever it may be. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything. If you guys have any specific dryland training programs that you guys like in particular that maybe were mentioned in this video or they weren't, let us know in the comments. And again, if you want the MySwimPro swag, check it out, linked in the description. No pool, no excuses. We've got a hoodie. We've got a whole ton of awesome MySwimPro swag. Make sure you check it out and represent with pride. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy training.